Hello there, dear viewer. As you can see right next to me, I have something very special indeed. Curzon have just released this box set, a collection that is dedicated to the works of a very special filmmaker. His name is Haneke, a very celebrated filmmaker whose films have won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival multiple times, one of only a few filmmakers to ever have achieved that. And if you speak to people who are deeply invested in the realm of world cinema and art house cinema, then you can't go very far without his name popping up as one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. The aim of this video is to give you an overview of this box set and the films that you get within it. I'm not going to be talking deeply about any one particular film, but I would like to do that someday because this is a filmmaker who has profoundly changed my view of cinema, art and life itself in a number of different ways. His filmography is often concerned with a miscommunication between human beings, often leading to violence or some other injustice. I've seen people mischaracterize his films as being violent films. They're actually not, and his approach to violence is he will look at the lead up and then the consequences of violent acts, but he very rarely shows moments of violence. And throughout his filmography there are excellent examples of how a filmmaker can create sensations of horror and dread and all of these other feelings within someone, within a viewer, without having to directly show something awful. He's also a filmmaker who believes that films shouldn't explain everything and they don't have to be tied up neatly by the end of a film. And this is great because it promotes so many discussions and thoughts between people about the nature of these films and what they are addressing. So I say this up front about this mischaracterization of the films being too violent or depressing in the fear that that could put some people off, because these films should be seen by everyone, in my opinion. It really does bring a lot of questions about society and human interaction that we often just don't address because they make us uncomfortable. So even if you're watching this video and don't have much interest in buying a big box set like this, please do go and seek these films out because they are well worth exploring and watching. You might not like them, and that's fine, but I think they are worth giving a go because you might find something extremely rewarding within these films. And I promise we're going to get into the box set and the Blu-rays in just a moment, but to wrap up this introduction of sorts, for many years I had been an appreciator and I would say a fan of the films of Haneke, and that has changed with this box set because I've spent the past couple of weeks watching almost everything in this. I haven't gotten through everything because there is a lot you will see within this box set, but I've watched most of it. And having watched all of these in quite a short amount of time and seeing things reoccurring through these films and these ideas that have been a constant presence in my mind for the past few weeks, I now regard Haneke as one of the most important filmmakers of the past few decades. And I know when you use words like important, that can feel somewhat pretentious because you're putting a filmmaker on a pedestal. I'm not trying to do that necessarily, but here's a filmmaker who is doing something so unique that I don't find in any other filmmaker. And often there are a lot of imitators that have come after these initial wonderful films from Haneke. So indeed, my opinion has changed on these films. It has grown stronger, and I really believe that these are important works of cinema. They are asking relevant questions to today about the nature of violence in the news and in the media and in social media, and our relationships with other people and these images throughout the media which are violent in nature. So let's finally get talking about this Blu-ray box set, and I'm going to show you why I believe personally it is essential for me to have this in my collection, because it is a comprehensive look at this filmmaker and his films. So the films come in this cardboard case, which is similar to some of the previous Curzon collections, like the Peter Strickland collection or the Bellatar collection. It has that textured effect to it, and around the box set there are no images, it is just the text. You have the Curzon logo, which I know some people have said shouldn't be bigger than the name of the filmmaker themselves. It doesn't bother me all that much, but I can understand why people say that. And then on the back, you've got the Curzon logo as well. This piece of cardboard lists all of the films you get within this box set across 14 Blu-ray discs, and you get 12 feature films and 6 television movies. With new commentaries and interviews on the discs, there are some collectible posters inside and a booklet, which I'm going to show you as well. So you can pull this out from within here, and this is now another hard box set, and you can see you've got this brand new artwork for this, which is excellent. I love the design of this. I like how it's black and white, and then within this is where all of the films are. So I'm going to pull all this stuff out, and all of the discs are held within these 2 fold out digipacks, and I'm not actually sure if I'm going to be able to fit this on camera because it is very large, but when folded out it sort of looks like this, which has all of these characters from Haneke's films with all of the static on their faces. And both of these fold out digipacks hold 7 Blu-rays. If you're already a fan of Michael Haneke, you probably have some of his films in your collection already, but a number of these films have never been released on Blu-ray here in the UK, and especially his early TV works have recently had new restorations which are presented on the discs here. Now, speaking of his more famous films, they have previously had Blu-ray releases here in the UK under the Artificial Eye label, which is now what Curzon is. And I still have some of these older discs in my collection, like Amour, which won the Palme d'Or, as well as the Best International Film at the Oscars, Cachet, which I think is one of his very best works, also called Hidden, and then The White Ribbon, which also won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival that year. Now, in previous box sets, like the Ruben Östlund box set, Curzon have just put these older discs into the new box set. However, with this one, they have actually gone back and reauthored the older discs and the content that was on them, because some of these discs are showing their age. They weren't necessarily encoded in the best manner when they were first released. So when you watch these discs, they do show problems in the image, which the team now have gone and reauthored these discs. So it does fix a lot of the compression problems that I experienced on these older Blu-rays, which is amazing news for collectors like us, because if you already have the films, you know that you're getting maybe not a new restoration of the films, but a better encoded disc, which gets rid of some of those older problems. And in case anyone wants these plastic sleeves that I use to save a lot of space with my collection, I'll include links to where I get these from in the description of this video. In terms of how to watch these films, you could start by watching the very first film he made and then going chronologically in order of release. Or you could watch them in any order you want. Or what I actually did for this, I watched them in reverse chronological order. So I started with Happy End and then went backwards. And I have also jumped around and watched a few other things out of order. So I guess I've cheated in that regard, but I was just dying to see what these films looked like. As I mentioned earlier, you do get brand new audio commentaries across a number of these films from 2 experts who really know the films of Michael Haneke. They are Catherine Wheatley and Ian Hayden Smith. And I've really enjoyed those commentaries that I've listened to from them so far, because they clearly know this filmography inside out. And within this booklet that's included, you get writings from them as well as some writings from Michael Haneke himself, including a piece where he's writing about Robert Bresson's Balthazar. So that's a fantastic piece. And it's great to see where Haneke takes a lot of his inspiration from. There's actually a few lists online floating around which are said to be his favourite films of all time, and you can definitely see where he's drawing a lot of inspiration from. Of course, titans like Andrei Tarkovsky, Ingmar Bergman, but also he appreciates Charlie Chaplin and a lot more modern films as well. So I would definitely recommend going and having a look at those lists of his own favourite films. As well as the films and the booklet, you also get a number of posters, and these designs are taken from the recent retrospective that was shown in Curzon cinemas around the country. That retrospective was called Complicit, so this is a poster for that. But then on the other side you also have a poster for the piano teacher in the new art style that's featured within the box set. You have a double-sided one for the US version of Funny Games, which looks like this. And then for one of my favourite films of his, Cachet, which has this double-sided poster. So it's fair to say I regard this box set very highly. In fact, I think it's the best of these Curzon collections that they have done so far in terms of the care that's gone into the films, especially those ones that have been reauthored for this box set. That's something they haven't done before as far as I'm aware. So the fact that they're doing that now is a great thing. Also getting the chance to see a lot of these TV films, which previously I hadn't seen, is just superb. And watching them in relation to these films that I already know very well, it really ties everything together. And it has me wanting more, actually. It makes me feel sort of melancholic that he hasn't made a film since Happy End, and he's in his 80s now because he started making films, feature films, quite late into his life. I believe he was in his late 40s when The Seventh Continent came out, which was his first feature film, although he had been making TV films for a couple of decades before that. And I've read that he was preparing a mini-series in the past decade, which just hasn't come to fruition. So who knows if we will see any more films from the filmmaker, because apparently he's retired. I know Isabelle Huppert was asked if she could bring him out of retirement, and she said, well, she'll try, but, you know, who knows. In the near future, I want to find some kind of avenue to talk about these films in depth and how they have impacted my life, because they really have in a very strong way. That could be in a video on this channel, although I can imagine not many people would actually want to watch that. It could be I might do something separate on another platform, or I might just write a mini essay about what I think about some of these films. I'll have a think about it, but please do let me know if that sounds interesting whatsoever to you. In the meantime, if you have any particular questions for me about these films or about this box set from Curzon, please do ask me in a comment on this video, and I will try my very best to help you. I know that this box set carries quite a high price tag, but you do get an awful lot here. I would definitely recommend to people, if you've never seen any of these films before, it might not be the wisest idea to go ahead and buy this, because you have no idea if you're going to even find anything to take away from this. So if you're in that position, I would watch some of these films first, get an idea of whether you like what's going on here, if you find value from it, and then you could look at getting this box set. If you want to hear more about these Curzon collections, I've done videos on some of the previous ones, like the Bella Tarr collection and the Peter Strickland box set. So do go and check those out on the channel, and also I have plenty of other videos giving reviews and recommendations. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.